co-op mode, round 119. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I am one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra, joined by the illustrious, the mysterious, the magical Mark the Canadian Carabin.
Woohoo! I never know what you're going to say when you introduce me, and it's always a fun, pleasant surprise, sometimes mysterious, sometimes unhinged goblin energy. I love it. How you doing?
Very, very good, Mark. You're getting ready to go off on a rump. I'm going into Monday. Let's go. Let's power through. This is a very odd day. We never have recorded on a Sunday night. So I don't know. Sunday energy is probably different than Monday energy. I don't know. You've always got toddler energy you're recovering from. So who knows? I mean, we'll see how this goes.
I've got recovering from toddler 3-year-old twin birthday party energy that Finn attended this afternoon, and it was a lot. It was a lot. My wife was like, because I can get a little overwhelmed sometimes if there's a lot of stuff going on, lights and sounds. Like casinos are a nightmare for me. So she was like, "How can you handle a casino, or how can you not handle a casino and you can handle this?" And I was like, It's a lot right now. I'm kind of just like focusing on like Finn having fun, and that was kind of like that kind of coasted me through. But like after a couple hours, it was just like, yeah, I need to get out of here. Like this is just there's a lot going on. But anyway, he had fun, so that was.
That's what the key takeaway is. But you're always teetering on like disaster, because like everybody's playing nice, having a good time, and then somebody just got hit in the head with a baseball bat from the piñata, or something goes wrong. Is it my child, or is it somebody else's child? Did my kid do something, or did somebody do something to my kid? Is it going to be very awkward with other parents very soon?
Yeah. The piñata, once that came out and the baseball bats came out, you're right on. Yeah, there was some stuff that was happening. And then near the end, it was like, kids are like just punching balloons and just like letting out some aggression in like I described the ball pit or the bouncy castle thing as like Royal Rumble waiting to happen. Like just one kid's just going to get a little bit too aggressive, and it's just all going to become a bloody
it's human pinball, Mark. Eventually you're going to hit a bumper and
one kid was just like ramping up and just running towards it and leaping into the bouncy castle thing. And it was just like, there's other kids in there. You're a torpedo. Something's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
But hey, they all had fun. Everyone made it out with all their limbs and everything intact. So it was a good time. It was fun.
Good deal. Now, I can't promise this podcast will be as fun as a toddler birthday party, but we're going to make it happen. But one of the things that we want to talk about first is, and this is kind of a common theme across Secret Friends Unite, is we want to be aligned in regards to our support of the entertainment community right now. Things are bad, and the only good things coming out of it. I'm hearing a lot about different other entertainment areas talking to unionize. Voice actors, I think, have a unionize. I think there's other areas where they're looking to unionize. Video games, I believe we're getting to that. So, and we're seeing the importance of that, because your rights, what you sign up for your contract, I think, can change quickly, like we're seeing the Hollywood community right now. So the writers are in day 81 of their strike, I believe. Time is a weird thing. Yeah. When you listen to it, it'll have changed. And then day 12 of the actors' strike. If you like good entertainment and you want to support them, the best thing you can do is continue to talk about this thing. Let people know that they're not forgotten. And also, if you want to, support them because they're going to be financially struggling. And Secret Friends Unite, with our Patreon funds, we decided to put some of that towards the entertainment community organization that is for basically to help them pay bills, do other things to keep them afloat during these hard times. And not even just this time. It's when actors are out of money. Because from what I heard, Mark, you have to make $26,000 minimum a year as an actor to get health care through SAG.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And I think the number of actors who actually make that much money, because a lot of them are just doing like small deals, it's not there. Writers, you might get lucky and get a credit on a show and might get a residual. But I was even laughing. They had an actor who's currently the janitor on Abbott Elementary. He got his residual check, and he didn't say who it was from. It was 3 cents.
Crazy.
We're in a crazy time. So, folks, every one of our podcasts will be handling this different, and we're leaving that up to the creators to do, but we are aligned on our support, and it'll be handled different ways. So each show will talk about how they're going to manage this, and that's why we want to do this. We want to be aligned, but want to give everyone the ability to do things that that they feel is the best way to support and still do our shows the way we see fit. So it's not as complicated in co-op mode, because really video games are kind of one of those weird ones where they're kind of in the middle, but we do know that anyone who can unionize, the likelihood that you are going to continue to be paid to do these things that we like and make the games in a healthy way is the right move for it, I think. So with that, I don't know, Mark, anything to add?
No, not really. No, that's a good way to sum everything up. We basically our last episode of Holocron Chronicles was paused because we had a whole thing going on. It was basically like 3 weeks or three episodes of like promotion for a show, and it just kind of felt weird. So we let everything out on the last episode. Just Charlie and I had a very candid conversation, and I think it's a little bit more relevant to that show than it is here. But it's great that we were able to make the donation and kind of address that on all of our shows. So thank you to our Patreon supporters for allowing us to do that and allowing us to do this. And I think that's a great time to jump in and say thank you to our Patreon supporters. Best Bud, Jamie Prinky, BFFs, Sean, Stella, Henry Nias, Missy Merchant, and Andy Milliken. You guys are the best. You let us do cool stuff like this and keep these shows going. And your support means everything to us. So thank you so much.
Yeah, we're obviously not getting rich off this, but this does help pay the bills because we have our next year of hosting and our next year of owning the website covered. So thank you to all of that. So it allows us not to worry about how we're going to pay for this and just focus on making really cool content. So very excited to keep doing that. And once again, if you want to share with your friends, you're enjoying our content, tell them there's a free trial, share it with them. They can join at the highest level, enjoy everything we do. Mark, just let you know, we are putting out content, and I have to figure out with co-op mode how we're going to do this because we haven't really dropped anything on co-op mode, we haven't really had any video game related Patreon stuff, but if we do in the future, it'll go there. But we just dropped a really cool interview with a Star Trek actor that was done by Kay and Missy. So if you want to see a cool interview with the Star Trek actor that was a Patreon exclusive, that is now free for everyone to enjoy. So hopefully everyone does enjoy that content because that's how we're going to keep doing it.
Exactly.
Now, something people may want to just pay us not to do the segment, Mark. I know you may become a patron and say, stop the segment. And I don't know, maybe we'll entertain or not. But that is buy, rent, return. And this week, Mark, because of all the hubbubs, and that's going to be the topic of the show, is about the future of the console hardware we're going to have. But this week is about just what we've had with console add-ons in the past. And some were good ideas, some were bad ideas. And I picked 3 that were kind of, I would say, oddities for all 3 of the console holders. So this week for console add-ons, I picked the Game Boy camera / printer. They weren't the same device, but you kind of wanted, if you got the camera, you want the printer. That's kind of what it is. If you don't, I mean, I'm not sure what you're doing with the camera except looking at your pictures, but you want to share friends. I believe the printer was, it was stickers, right? That's what it printed out.
Yeah.
Or was it just pieces of paper?
I think you could get both. I think you get regular printer.
Okay.
Like regular photo printing, but I think the stickers were like the big draw, wasn't it?
Yeah, print those out and you could edit and do those fun things with it. It was a different time, kids. This was for the. Was this just for the? Did this work with any Game Boy, Mark? Was it just the Game Boy Color? I don't remember. I didn't have one.
I think it worked for any Game Boy. Straight back to the original brick. Yep. Perfect.
So it was like completely backwards compatible. So we love that. Was not compatible with the Game & Watch though. So. Don't, if you were there, like, goodness, be upset about that. Next, we have the PS2 Network Kit. This was an odd one because this essentially was a hard drive peripheral that used the hard drive port. You could stick a hard drive into your PS2, and that it also gave you network connectivity. And I believe it was only dial-up at the time. And I believe the only game it supported was Final Fantasy 11, which was the first Final Fantasy RPG. I don't know if it supported anything else, to be honest. And then lastly, Xbox HD DVD, which Schlosser, he had a joke. He's going to tell us all about this, but he had a good joke about it from Red versus Blue. But this was essentially an external drive when we had the last format wars. I believe this is the last official format wars. Blu-ray on PS3. HD DVD, Xbox, just because the contrarian, they didn't want to give in to Sony. They obviously they love each other, but this was the format wars, and nothing was chosen at the time. So you could have bought an external HD DVD drive with probably like 20 movies total that were ever came out for it. So kind of a weird thing. So there we go, Mark. Those are the three. And then definitely tell me if you owned any of these, because I would love to hear about it. So what were your picks for buy rent return?
I did not own any of these. So these are all things that I had looked at and said no. But I have some choices. So my first choice is the Game Boy camera / printer. That is my buy. And while I wasn't impressed with it back in the day as an addition for the Game Boy that I had, it was just like, I didn't really get taking pictures and in the black and white and print it, it was just kind of a weird accessory choice. But now I'd want it for the memes. Like I want it for the joke of like, hey, I went to Disney World and I only took pictures with my Game Boy camera. Or, hey, thanks for inviting me to your wedding. I took all the pictures with my Game Boy camera. Like
you pissed off the photographer. He only used the Game Boy printer or camera.
Right, like it's that kind of stuff. It's like, hey, do you want to see the slideshow from our vacation? Here it is. Oh yeah, it's all Game Boy camera photos.
Oh, even worse, Mark. Imagine if somebody just said, "I'm taking all of my photos, but only printing them out with the Game Boy printer."
Game Boy printer. That's it.
Either way, you're not going to be happy. It's the highest resolution you could see on a dot matrix printer.
Exactly. I want that. So that's a thing. I still have a working Game Boy Color. That would be fun to find. If I could find like a working vintage one,
be hilarious.
I think that'd be a really fun get. My rent is the Xbox HD DVD drive. And this is going to be kind of a cheat rental because I'm going to break that thing really quickly. Because the best part about HD DVD, especially this one, was that you could make a cheap laser gun with it.
Oh, you're taking the laser out?
Yeah, take the laser out, and it could actually it got so hot that you could burst a balloon from across a room very quickly. So I actually tried to buy one of these after like HD DV, bit the bullet and Blu-ray took over. I thought about buying one, especially the Xbox one, because it was fairly cheap compared to like big HD DVD players.
Yeah.
And I
don't even remember how much it sold for originally.
I can't remember flat out. Like I honestly, I can't remember like the price, but I remember thinking like that's the cheapest way to get one of these lasers. And I kind of want to make a laser and I never did. So that's a big regret. So I'll return this after I'm done making a laser out of it and having some fun, busting some things and like being destructive. But, yeah, that's it. I'm going to buy that. And
is
then
that in the Anarchist Cookbook, Mark, by the way? Are you on a watch list that we don't know of?
I probably should be. If my first choice is like, or my first thought is like, hey, how can I make that into a laser? Or just destructive. And the PS2 network kit. Yeah, I never, like my brother owned a PS2. We didn't really, like online wasn't really a thing back then for us. So not super useful for me. So that's the pretty instant, easy return. Yeah. What about you?
They're all winners, Mark, in my book. I don't know about you. I mean, these are essential key things in the video game
like
archive.
For you is going to be very flipped or very different.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't even know to begin because I did not own any of these either. And really, I never owned a Game Boy, so I can't even, I mean, it would be weird for me to go like, could I just buy a Game Boy camera and printer? I don't own one. I don't own a Game Boy. I just, see what I can do with these things. And I'll see you next Tuesday. Yay. So, oh my goodness. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to buy the Xbox HD DVD player because it does feel like it would be an oddity, and it just even like those guys who do those tech comparisons just to see like Blu-ray versus HD because I know HD DVD had it was like the Betamax versus the VHS because it had apparently had better features and better all these other things. It did so much better than Blu-ray, but it all came down to who actually supported which studios and things like. Obviously, Sony had its own studio, and that was more of it. So it was once again, it's like I don't think the format was with Blu-ray was better, but HD had that, but they just could not get momentum against the brand. So it'd be kind of cool. And I did look on Amazon, Mark. You can still buy brand new HD DVDs. You could buy. We got some interesting ones here. You get The Sopranos season 6 part 2, and that's the only thing they list. So you would have half of a season 6, The Sopranos. Apparently, the Closer, which is a USA TV series with Kira Sedgwick, you can get all 7 seasons of that for $85. Mark, come on. I mean,
hey, that's a deal.
And then you could get what's another one? Simply Stretch Chair Dancing Fitness for $14.38.
Is that the first one?
It's a series. And you're just getting Simply Stretch. I don't know if there's like a complexly stretch, but
right.
It's good to know it's there.
If you're going to stretch, that's the way to start.
Simply, yeah. I mean, if you do it wrong, Mark, I mean, you're out for 3 weeks. So so yes, that would be the fun part, just to see, because I do own I bought a Xbox 360 just to play some of the old school Xbox games. So I would definitely be in the market for this because I don't own any of the other ones, like I said. So I could do that. So that's my buy. My rent. Wow, it's got to be the Game Boy camera printer. And Mark, I'm hoping I could take like my new. I'm going to update. Completely gave up on the Ambernick system, which Charlie's Gremlins took it, apparently. I don't know. So I ended up ordering the Ambernick. It's like a widescreen one, or it looks like almost like a SNES controller sideways, but it has sticks. Yeah. So I'm curious to see how that one goes. But I'm thinking, could I find a way to hook that up to the camera, Mark?
No. No, because the Game Boy
cartridge adapter with the USB dongle
slot. Oh man, something like that exists.
Could we do like an Apple style, like 85 dongles, and eventually I'll be able to do it?
You could probably hook it up to the analog pocket, though.
That's right.
Do some research to see if that worked.
Okay, we'll see. We get this going because that's
a hardware emulation.
And if anything, just having it goes then looking cool, and maybe you could get that printer just to, like I said, to print, like get a weird connection and just print out your modern photos and your 85 megapixels and get a 16 kilobyte photo out of it would be impressive. Yeah. And there was even like a photo editor where you could add like stickers and stamps on it too. So it wasn't like they looked bad enough already, but you could make them look even worse, which is great. I love that. So that'd be my rent. I'd try it out, see if I could hack it, and then I'd just rent it. So I give it to you, Mark.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And then the PS2 Network Kit. This has like no use outside of one game. Didn't even know that you could do this. I think there was only one game you'd actually use the network connection to as well. And then it was a 40 gigabyte capacity hard drive. Was the highest they could go. They had DRM up the nose, and it was just like, what was the point of this, Mark?
Yeah.
I mean, PlayStation launched without it. Xbox launched with an Ethernet connection. You can just tell at that point. It's like, oh yeah, somebody's doing their thing, somebody's not. And at that point, it was the GameCube, right?
Yeah.
Was that the same? Yeah. Did GameCube have an adapter?
They did.
Okay. Yeah. I don't even know what they did.
For what was that for?
Was there like a
I
Fantasy
never
Star,
ended up
like
owning
online or
one, but it
something?
was, yeah, Fantasy Star might have been it. Actually,
Okay.
that's a good
Is this
call.
so weird?
And
Because Dreamcast was in the same boat because Dreamcast had Fantasy Star and they had a Ethernet. I think you could get Ethernet or dial up for the Dreamcast connection. SegaNet.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
So there you go. We weren't great at this because we just didn't have any of these. So but they were good picks nonetheless. I didn't have like a DDR pad or something like that, which would have been fun too. But we had Sloss Ritter from our Patreon group in Discord. He said, "Buy PS2 Network, though it would have been more developed for it was integrated from the start." Agree. Rent Game Boy Camera. This was our camera phone at home, kids. Yep, you got a camera phone at home. Very true. And the returns HHDDVVDD This is an old joke from Red vs. Blue. He actually put the clip in the Discord I watched, and it's very funny. Red vs. Blue.
yeah.
Man, talk about the old days.
Loved Red vs. Blue. Oh man,
Oh,
so good,
yeah.
so good.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, folks. And if you have any suggestions you'd like us to do for Buy Rent Return, please let us know on Twitter, Discord, Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky. Oh, no, Mark, on X. On X, right? That's the new social media that's replacing Twitter. Makes total sense because the Greek letter X stands for Twitter.
Yeah.
Thanks, Aristotle.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to get into an Elon
You're
Musk
going to
rant.
hemorrhage
Let's
before
move
you come
on.
up with anything that would be
I
like.
am. It just hurts. It hurts.
It makes a lot of sense, folks. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. Stay away from social media if you can, because at this point, who knows what we'll be doing in a couple of weeks. So let's get into what we've been gaming. So I'll be honest, I've not been gaming a lot except for one game, another game I played. So Mark, what about yourself?
I have been playing a little bit. I've been trying to get more into the new season of Fortnite. So been dabbling in that a little bit, but I didn't really put that in the show notes because I always play Fortnite, right? But I hadn't in a bit for this season.
What are they up to? Because I'm totally out of the loop. I know they had Transformers. They are doing some weird modes and games within Fortnite too. Is there anything like? Is this a good time to jump into Fortnite?
It's never a bad time to jump into Fortnite, to be honest. Like there's always going to be a jumping in point. So they're always adding more stuff. They are really trying to make it more of a game development platform. So you're seeing some really cool stuff pop up in alternate modes, whether it's like different, like, Only Up, I think, is a new game that's like kind of, so they have that kind of mode in there. People are always coming up with different things, but like even just the base game, if you wanted to jump into like, the battle royale mode, it's a good time to jump in. There's like, I find the new maps really diverse. There's, a snow part, there's a jungle part, there's a beach, there's this, there's that. So I really like how they've developed the new map. I did find it was kind of getting a little stagnant. So there's a decent amount of diversity from like a big kind of like Neo Tokyo city to like, just a bunch of biodiversity. There's rideable dinosaurs now, which is awesome. And like you said, Transformers. So you can rock as Optimus Prime and then Bumblebee, and there's a couple of other people, but they're not coming till October or November or something like that. So it's weird. They've announced that they're coming into the game, but they haven't put them in. Right now, all the Marvel characters are cycling back through. So it's really cool to see everyone from like Thanos to like some of the comic characters that haven't been in movies yet, like Psylocke and those kind of like, or like she's been in movies, but like, not as prominently MCU
movie.
kind of stuff.
That was
But yeah, it's cool. Like even the Spider-Man Zero suits making its return. So like there's always something going on in Fortnite. But I was happy to finally get my umbrella for this season. So if you get a victory royale, you're the last one standing, you get a special umbrella. This season, it's all bananas making the form of an umbrella, like from kind of fanned out. So it's a neat one.
What the okay, Mark? I'm a noob. What is the umbrella for? It's the paraglider,
umbrella,
right?
is the glider. Yeah,
it is.
That's
what
you use to glide down. Yep. So as you jump off the bus, as you lower yourself, you glide down eventually. And some of the gliders are wild, and the Millennium Falcon can fly you down. But the victory umbrellas are like, there's a different one every single season. I've had them all since, I don't know, chapter 1, season 2 or 3 or something like that. But yeah, I hadn't had this one because I haven't been playing. So I finally like logged in and was like, okay, let's make this a thing. So I did. That was fun. The other thing I've been really playing, and I like I said before we started recording, I downloaded Pikmin 4. Haven't had a chance to jump in yet. That's going to be like my vacation game after the beach, after all that kind of stuff. Pikmin 4 on the deck, and it's going to be a good time. But the thing I have been playing is Ridiculous Fishing. I know this came out a while ago, but it just dropped on Apple Arcade for free if you're an Apple Arcade subscriber. No in-app purchases or anything like that. It's a fun, weird, goofy kind of mobile game that you can just kind of jump in for one session, or you can sit down for an hour and really try to beat some records and improve. Basically, if you're watching the video version, that's it right there. You're this old man on a boat, and you're dropping your fishing lure into the water. There's a couple of different stages of this game. The first one, when you drop it in, you're trying to avoid the fish, and it's all tilt controls. Avoid the fish at all costs, because as soon as you hit a fish, that's when your lure starts to go back up. On the way up, you're doing the exact opposite. You want to hit as many fish as possible, get as many fish on your hook as possible, because when they go into the air, that's your time to shine. That's when you pull out your gun and start shooting the fish in the air. Because of course
you do.
this game must have been made in America.
Wait. There are no backwoods Canadians who ain't shooting fish. Come on, Mark. You know that.
I'm teasing. So you shoot the fish in the air, they explode, and you get money from however many fish that you catch and explode in the air. There are fish like jellyfish that if you shoot them, they take money away. So you have to be careful, but you also want to catch those at least once, because you're trying to fill up your like Fishopedia entry list or whatever it's called, and collect every different kind of fish. There's different fishing zones, so you can go to different places around the seas, and there's different fish in each place. It's ridiculous, just like the name says, and it's very fun. I'm really enjoying it. It's mindless, and you keep getting upgrades. The more money you get, the more upgrades you can unlock. So I just unlocked, and I haven't played it because when you go further down, you start to get into the depths, and then you can't see. So you're going to run into a fish pretty quickly. I just got a lantern, so I think I'm going to be able to see in the depths, and that's the last I played of it this afternoon or this evening. So I can't wait to go use my lantern. One of the upgrades I did very much enjoy was a chainsaw, which is pretty obvious. If you're going fishing, you should bring a chainsaw to attach to your fishing line.
That even? Oh, okay, so you can be offended. So you can like hit them on the way down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, makes sense.
There's a big, because one of the problems, right? Like because it's all randomized, so sometimes like there's just no way to go to avoid a fish. You really can't, so you have to kind of cut through the fish, and you still get the money for that, which is neat. Wow. But as you can kind of cut through the fish to keep going further into the depths. So, and you do run out of gas. It's not just infinite. So like you can, on one trip, you can run out of gas for your chainsaw. So you just can't keep going down and down and down with the chainsaw. You do run out of gas. So you have to use it sparingly, but it's a very cool upgrade. You can upgrade your weapons as well, from a pistol to a shotgun to an Uzi, and just keep going. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you have Apple Arcade, get it. If you don't, find it on something else or a way to download it, because it is ridiculous. It's so much fun. It's one of those just really, really solid mobile games that I love that Apple Arcade picks up and gets rid of any kind of like payment system, in-app purchases, all that kind of stuff. That's what I love about Apple Arcade, is they strip all that stuff out and just give you the most fun, focused, and ridiculous kind of games that you can get. So another big win in my books for Apple Arcade.
That's awesome. And I'm assuming you use touch controls when you're shooting the fish.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Touch controls. You touch the screen as well for the chainsaw going down.
Oh,
Everything
okay.
else is just kind of tilt, which is one thing. So a lot of these games I really like. Apple Arcade's been doing a great job of stuff with like controller support, like the Ninja Turtle game and that kind of stuff. So I've been able to jump from my TV to my iPad to my phone, whatever. I have yet to test this on anything but my phone, so I'm going to have to try that on like a TV, my iPad, see how it translates there, see if it works with the controller, how the controller versus touchscreen or tilt kind of feels. So there's still a little bit more experimentation that I want, but like as a phone game, and I don't play like a ton of like phone games. Usually when I'm looking, it's like, okay, I can try this on my phone, but like let's get a bigger screen, let's get a
Yeah.
better experience with a controller. Usually, this is like a phone game. You know, it's like it's just perfect for like let's pick up and play for a couple of minutes while you're bored, waiting in line somewhere or doing something, or just kind of like in between whatever. Like I was waiting for Pikmin to download and I was playing that, and then Pikmin didn't really finish downloading, so I haven't played that yet, and it's driving me crazy. But yeah, so it's fun, man. It's good. It's ridiculous. Go check it out if you can.
It is
Um,
indeed, Mark.
that's about it. I've been again just playing like retro stuff still on. Still picking through Pokemon on the RG35. But that's like the only real new thing I've been grasping. I can't wait till next time when I can talk about Pikmin. But right now, I want to hear about ExoPrimal.
Yes. Okay. So here we go. Mark, just an update though. I was doing some research while you were telling me about this awesome fishing game. The PS2 network adapter is available for $23.70 on Amazon. And I love the fact that they have it, and there's a cover that says "Do not connect phone line" to the Ethernet port, because people were not aware of Ethernet cables back in the day. It was like, don't do this. I love it.
Wow.
I love it. Yes. The bad old days. Oh, well. Moving on to what I've been playing. ExoPrimal. So, yes, I gave this a try. This is a new Capcom game that is out on all the major consoles, $70 release. But more importantly, it's also on Game Pass. Day and date. I love day and dates because it's awesome, because it's essentially a rental service to see if you like this game that's new. This game is the game where it's essentially, people thought this was going to be a Dino Crisis remake when they first saw this, because that's what Capcom does. They remake their games and they relaunch it. But this is the crazy game that takes place in the future, where you've got portals dropping down dinosaurs, velociraptors, T-Rexes, Triceratops, pterodons. I don't know. There's probably other crazy like made up dinosaurs too. I did not get that far. It's kind of over the top and wacky with the people and the characters, but it's a beautiful game. It's definitely feels next gen in regards to presentation, things like that. But it's weird Japanese. So that's the best way to put it, because it's like they don't even try to explain why there are dinosaurs dropping from portals of the sky. And I love the fact that they get their sense of humor, because they show the forecast. Like, you think the weather forecast? It's a dinosaur forecast, Mark. It's like cloudy with a chance of T-Rexes.
I like that kind of goofiness. That's
It
pretty.
is. It is. It's very goofy. The characters, the cast of characters in the game are kind of fun and goofy. You got like this way too sexy robot like assistant who is around. I'm like, why is she so sexy? That's not needed, but she is. You got a fiery redheaded lady. You got like the way too chill guy. Then you've got some spicy other people, and that's just kind of the framework of just trying to give this game a very loose story, if anything at all. There really is no solo campaign. It's all multiplayer. There's PvE with some PvP elements. The best way to put it is there's a mode in Destiny called Gambit, which I don't know if you ever played it, Mark, where basically it starts off PvE, and then at the end of the match, it's like, oh, you got to fight the other team now, which sucks because they're probably better than I am, and man, this is going to suck. Oh, well, there's a little bit of that where you ultimately, like what I played was you pick your mech, and that's kind of cool. You get this mech suit. It's kind of like Anthem esque, actually, the size of the mech suit. It's like, but it's Overwatch as well. So it's like Overwatch where you have different class types, like a tank, support, all those things. And there are many different varieties. I think there's 11 different individual suits you can be. in their class, and there's like 4 classes. It's very similar to that. You pick the one you want to start, and you can swap out. It's very easy to do. You can upgrade them. You can customize your main character because you can go in and out of the suits. You get to see yourself on occasion, and it's very much, if you don't have friends to play with, it's randoms, which is fine because I played it last night with randoms, and it was fun. I had a good time. Nobody was like, I had everything turned off, so I wasn't listening to anyone yell at me saying, "Oxtra, move up and get better." But it was fun, and the gameplay seemed very intriguing. But that's just not me. It's not a game I want to play. But other people who like maybe are want to cut in the ground floor of a game like this, I think it's a great game to try out. I think it's low stakes in the mode that I was playing with, and I couldn't get to the next level for some reason. You're essentially trying to, in the Overwatch is this mode where it's basically a box, a special box, and it moves slowly and you have to protect it. And along the way, you're fighting dinosaurs to keep this box moving. And you can actually ride in the box if you want, but you don't have to. And when you finally get to the end, that's where the other team shows up. And that's where it all goes. To me, that's where I lost. I didn't enjoy it at that point. I just wanted to keep shooting dinosaurs because I found that a lot of fun. So I don't know if there's a way to completely move PvP and just make it PvE, which I think was where the fun is for me, where it's cooperative and just having a good time and with your buddies, low stakes, having a good time shooting the dinosaurs. I enjoyed it. It's a beautiful looking game. So I don't know. I don't know if this one's going to find an audience, but being on Game Pass, I think it's a smart move for Capcom because this is a new IP, and being an online only type game like this, not many people are making paid online only games these days. I mean, the last one I can think of was like Titanfall 1, and they changed and made it solo player game with multiplayer and things to go because they just know they didn't get a big audience. So I don't know. I think you might like it, Mark.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna. I was looking at it on Game Pass, and I heard some mixed stuff about it. So I did want to hear your thoughts. So I might download it and see what it's all about.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'll go back to it, but if someone would say, "Hey, you want to play some ExoPrimal?" I'm like, sure, why not? I'm game. Yeah. So it's that type of game. It's funny because Mark, our guest next week, most likely we had to change some things around. So our guest most like next week will be talking about this game a lot. So I don't want to overwhelm us on Final Fantasy 16, but it's the game that has been keeping me enraptured. I think I'm like 70 to 80% done. So hopefully the next time we meet, I'm done with this game and I can really, give my full impressions and where I'm at. And then I can go back to Diablo or play something else. And we'll see how that goes. But I know I'm going to be fighting with someone in my house because he's decided to start playing Final Fantasy 16 and he's behind me on the couch doing that right now. So it's kind of cool to see him play it. And, he's been playing Destiny in his desk next to the couch. So I don't know how much he absorbed as I was playing it. He would look back every once in a while I was playing, and so he's like, yeah, I wanted to play this. So I'm like, he loved Final Fantasy 7 Remake. So it's kind of interesting to see how he'll like the actual gameplay because there's no turn-based or anything. It's all action combat with some light RPG action. So I'm really enjoying the game. I think it's great. Mark, the biggest thing I can say is that it's still a little over dramatic at times. But these icon battles, which are like the old summons of Final Fantasy 7, as you think about like Ifrit, which is the fire beast, Shiva, the ice, Titan is the big rock guy. They are so, Mark, I can't even explain it. It's like a Mexican telenovela with like monsters fighting it out. It is crazy and they're so compelling. I'm like, and a lot of it is regular gameplay, but then you get your like quick time type events. They call it cinematic action, which I appreciate it because they're like, I like it because it's awesome because there's still limitations in the gameplay of what they can do to make things look cool. So this is their way to do it. And they mix it in. And it's also keeps you on your toes because you're like, oh, okay, it's part of a cutscene now. Nope. Oh, crap. Did I do it right? So I'm really still enjoying this game. And once this is done, I am worried about Diablo 4, Mark, because if you've been listening to Diablo 4, they've nerfed a lot of the classes, and that makes me scared because I don't know if they're going to reverse those things. So I don't know if I'm going to get back to it until they've done getting the game where it needs to be. So I don't know. I would like to play more, and I would like to beat the game. I heard the campaign's not very long, so as a minimum, that's what I'd like to do.
Yeah, I really have to get back into that as well. Just a matter of time.
And my wife keeps has gotten me back into Wordle, Mark. So Wordle is still alive. Yes. And it's constantly the, how did you do today? Have you done it yet? Oh, no. And then she taunts me, I taunt her. It's very fun. But definitely I should play it earlier during the day versus going before I go to bed, because I don't want to be in a bad mood, because sometimes Wordle puts me in a very bad mood. It's like, really?
The Wordle sweet spot, like my brother and I still play it every day and still send back and forth. Like I got 4 today. The Wordle sweet spot of timing is very crucial for Wordle. Yes. I can't play Wordle too early in the morning.
Oh, okay.
My brain's not awake. I can't word. I can't think of stuff. I'm like, I don't know what letters are. Like that's when I make mistakes and I end up getting 5 or 6. Usually like my average is pretty good on like 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a 424 plays, and I've not lost a single Wordle yet. I have 12 6s. I have 3 1s, which is pretty decent for 400.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've never gotten a 1. I might have in the past, but I lost my progress because I didn't create a count or anything. So,
I don't play it every single day. Like my max streak ever is like 78 days in a row, and I'm currently on like a 7-day streak. So it's weird for me to play on the weekends, but my brother keeps sending his to me. So anytime he does, it's kind of a reminder to be like, yeah, I got to do that. But like early in the morning, man, I can't Wordle early in the morning before I wake up. It's usually an afternoon thing.
Yeah. By the way, burly was one of the worst words. Burly. Yeah. Who thinks of burly? I don't know. Yeah, gotta love it. Oh well, that's it. Since we don't have a guest this week, I thought we'd talk about some news. We don't do this all the time, and I don't get like controversial news. I typically get like what's going on, something fun. So with that, Mark, kind of an end of an era in a way. Game Pass Live with gold with games, in many ways they called it, has died. Long live Game Pass Core. You know what? If you had Game Pass Live with gold still, I don't know how many people still do. No change for you, except you're no longer getting 3 games you probably didn't know existed and you didn't care about. That's really it. Yeah. It's same cost, either $10 a month or $60 a year. Hopefully you're not paying $10 a month. Don't do that. Get a year. So now we have 4 Game Pass tiers. We have Game Pass Core, which I mentioned is the new one. It's the entry level. This is giving you online multiplayer. And then even though it has Game Pass in the title, you're not getting the full Game Pass library or releases. You're getting 25 high quality games from Game Pass. And they will potentially, right now it's 25 at launch, and they said they would add new games quarterly or every 3 months or something like that. I guess that's quarterly, every 3 months. So there you go. Every 4 months, whatever. And then you're getting member deals and discounts. So no perks, things like that. Console hasn't changed. That is essentially Game Pass minus the online multiplayer. So you're getting, that's kind of the main difference between there. Then PC is not changing at all. The PC is kind of like the best deal, actually, because you don't pay for online, you get everything, and you get EA Play. And then Ultimate did get a price increase. So did console. Console went up $1. Ultimate went up $2, I believe, up to $16.99 in the US. I'm not sure. What is it in Canada, Mark?
I can't remember. I haven't paid full price for Game Pass Ultimate in a while.
Either have I. So, and that's the sweet spot. That's why they have Core. They want people to get Ultimate. That's where they want people to go, because you get both multiplayer and Ultimate. That's the only way you get both. So that's where you would go. So that's the plan. That is going out there. And the biggest sacrificial lamb of this, Mark, is the deal to stack Xbox Live Gold and get like 3 years of Ultimate. That's going away. If you want to do that, folks, you have until September 15th. So by the 14th, you better buy your Xbox Live Gold cards if they're still around at your Costco. Do that. Convert it. If you've got a gold count, convert it. Go from there. A lot of people have been just letting their ultimate expire and then redoing it again, which is crazy. I didn't know you could even do that, but they do. So that's going away. So essentially at this point, find good deals on Game Pass Ultimate. I do find good deals on Game Pass Ultimate. So they're out there, and that's the preferred way to go. I think I've got 3 years. So I think that's the max you can do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big change. But yeah, I think one that's kind of been in the works, like people have been kind of calling it for a while. Games with gold used to be like the standard, and that has really dropped in quality to be like, like you said, kind of like, who cares? Are you going to play this? Do you even cash it in? There's been some months that I'm just like, I'm never going to bother. And it's just built into Ultimate, right? So like it's a thing. I do like the core is pretty good. Like the 25 games are 25 good games. It's not like they're hurting you with a list of like 25 terrible games. For this, like there's games like Among Us, Doom Eternal, Gears 5, Halo, Hellblade. Like there's a bunch of good stuff there, right? Like it's even Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Like there's really good multiplayer, single player. Like it's all good. So if you're looking to save a little bit of money and still have online multiplayer and access to games, like Core is a very good option that saves you a decent chunk of money every single month if you're going month to month or whatever. But like, it's
definitely get Core for a year though. It'll be $60. That's definitely where the money is. Don't spend 10 if you're doing that. If your kid, tell your parents it's a good deal, mom and dad. Don't dole it out. And it looks like there's a few games that are like not exclusive or first party. Like Among Us is just so some of these games are not Xbox where like it's free for them anyways. They care. There are some like high profile not games that they own, which is like Human Fall Flat, which is an interesting game, which is like, that's not, I don't know why it's in there, but maybe it's for the kids. I think that's what they try to do. Sprinkle games that are for everybody. But yeah, it's primarily Xbox first party, and it's not the newest, but there are some solid games on here. So definitely, check that out if you're interested. Mark, I will say adding another tier just is never a good idea, because then it's just like, okay, what is it? Game Pass, but it's not Game Pass. So I kind of wish they had just bit the bullet and said, we got 3 tiers. It's Game Pass Console, Game Pass PC, and Game Pass Ultimate. And I know they're not going to pass the savings on by making it cheaper, but maybe they said, we're going to have Game Pass for console, but we're going to offer an annual rate, and we're going to add multiplayer to it, and make it $120 a year, kind of with similar to like Sony's biggest tier as well. I think that would be a good move. And then if you want cloud streaming and both PC and console, that's what Ultimate for. It's additive, but it's adding on features, but it's not saying you have to have one or the other. So Core, I think, is just really that bait to get you onto Ultimate eventually, which is fine. It's not making and I don't know who liked any of those Xbox Live Gold games. And I mean, Mark, I remember when Xbox Live Gold first came out, it didn't have games with Gold, because that was something that PlayStation brought forward with PS Plus. So that was something they added on. But back in the day, you had to have Xbox Live Gold to even access Netflix on Xbox, which I thought was hilarious. Yeah. They paywalled Netflix. I'm like, but no, and Netflix wasn't available anywhere else. It was that was the only way to get Netflix on your TV at one time, because there were no Roku boxes or things like that. So for them, it was smart. I mean, being at the ground floor of streaming media, which is like, who knew?
I think that's my biggest problem with all of this is it feels like there's still like a foot in the past with paying for online.
Yeah.
Like when you look at the core versus console, and it's like online console multiplayer is in core, but not in the console version. It's $9.99 or $10.99. It's like, could you not have found some middle ground there? And I guess like their answer is combining it to Ultimate, but it just seems so stupid nowadays to like, I don't know, bundle that or something. And I know everyone does it, and it's, Nintendo Online is a thing, and it's so like is what it is. But it's like, I don't know, man, there's something about it that just feels, when you line them up like that, it feels archaic. It feels dumb, especially when you can then see the PC version that's like
Get everything.
everything ultimate, but saves you that $5 or $6
It's
a month or whatever it is,
it's literally the cheapest.
because
Yeah.
PC doesn't have, that barrier to entry. So it's such a weird kind of thing. And it might be the PC in there that's breaking me, that it's
Yeah.
like, why is that so cheap? Oh, right. You don't pay for multiplayer online.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's 2023. Why are we paying for that anyway? We talked about like the PlayStation 2 network connection. And it's like, that seems so long ago and
Yeah.
seems so weird. And you understand that they're like building this infrastructure and stuff. And like, I understand that, servers aren't free and it costs to keep up these games and all that kind of stuff. But like,
But PC doesn't charge you. It's like they're not paying for it. So
Yeah,
it's kind of weird
I know.
it's so weird. And it's something to call out. And I forgot about this. The EA Play part is only in Ultimate. So even in the core Game Pass, if you don't get Ultimate, you don't get any of the EA goodness. So that's a weird one. So it's an odd one. I think they could have done, Mark, where they said like, oh, it's $11.99 a month for console, but we're going to give it a year for $100 and you get everything but the cloud and the PC part. And that's what you would get that for. It's almost like the extra stuff. So essentially this one you're paying $6 more a month for Ultimate to get online and EA Play. So
Yeah, it's weird.
I wish they would offer an annual cost. Like PlayStation, at least, as theirs is kind of funky, but they offer the annual. So you do save quite a bit of money. Like I think it's $120 a year, but if you bought it monthly, it would have been $180. So I would hope that Xbox would do that. And we've got no mention of, Mark, that's the other thing, of the Family Pass, which I think a lot of people were excited about sharing, I think it was 5 Game Pass Ultimate memberships within a family for $25-$30 a month. I don't know. It was in Ireland or was it Scotland and like a South American country where they tested it out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just pop. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. It's so weird. Yeah. It does. It seems weird and broken, but anyway, is what it is, I guess.
And they didn't take my idea, Mark. So I think I lost this bet because I made it my prediction that we would get a Game Pass Cloud. And it was just you would get Game Pass Cloud with online play at the entry, and that would replace Gold, which would make more sense. It's called Gameplay. Yeah, you get all Game Pass, but it's streaming. But you still get all Game Pass and online. So they didn't take my idea, Mark. So once again, Cloud is only on the highest end, which obviously kind of ties into Xbox argument that Cloud isn't a big thing. Of course, it's not a big thing when it's your highest tier, and depends on your internet connection. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Makes sense.
Yeah. So with that, we now move to something I'm actually very excited about. This is just Todd's moment news. So San Diego Comic-Con is happening right now. Obviously, Hollywood is really not there. So video games are there. Other things are there. But they had a PlayStation panel. And it was funny seeing Brian Entahar, who used to be a podcaster on GameSpot. Oh, no. One of the core ones, but he went on to be a big producer at Sony doing Insomniac, working on Spider-Man, which is pretty cool. And he did like the white glove unveiling of this cool custom Spider-Man console with custom controller. We got a new gameplay trailer. And I think a lot of people were wondering, would we get a Spider-Man custom console? Because we got one back in the day that was all red and white on PlayStation 4. So we got this. And I'm like, I don't want to buy a new console. This is probably going to be, $550 because you get the game with it. But it's a beautiful, black with red with the symbiote tendrils coming down to the white spider. It's very cool. They're having 2 editions. No, 1 edition. I think it's only the disc-based edition, I believe. And it's very cool. I don't think they've announced price, but yeah, I would assume $550. So I'm like, crap, I don't want to do that. But they did a surprise. And this reminds me back when Xbox had faceplates on the 360, where you would customize your Xbox with these cool faceplates. It made your Xbox feel special, but it didn't click for some reason. Not sure why. They, the faceplate or the side panels of the PlayStation 5 are replaceable. They've brought out 4, and Mark, they have a weird one. It's like the LeBron James edition side panels, they're really ugly. They're all black and they have like some weird like graffiti, but it's not cool looking. So those are the ones they brought out since. And I'm like, well, I hope they don't just focus on custom consoles. I hope they do this. And they did. So now we're getting the same side panels you can get for the custom edition. You can buy them separately. I don't know how much they will be. I think they're 60 for the standard one. So hopefully they maintain that price. If it's an extra $5, who cares? And they are also offering the controller separately as well. I assume that'll be $75.
Yeah. Everything was amazing.
I love this. I love this. I know Xbox has some really cool Starfield controller, headset. So I'm glad to see you're getting another option on another console. The last one Nintendo did was the Tears of the Kingdom edition. And I don't know if we're getting anything this fall with Super Mario RPG. They didn't do a Pikmin edition, so I'm not sure if we'll see anything else from Switch, to be honest, on its last end, if they'll do anything special or not, because the games they've got tiered to come out, I don't really know if they call for a special edition, to be honest.
No.
Would it be a Pro Controller? Because when was the last Pro Controller, Mark?
Oh, jeez.
The Pokemon one?
I think the Pokemon, yeah.
Okay.
I could see some. Are they doing Joy-Con or something for the new Mario game?
I haven't seen anything because is RPG
Joy-Con
first or is it Wonder first?
RPG.
Okay, RPG. I haven't heard anything.
I thought they just announced new Joy-Con. Like,
did they?
Pastel colors or something like that.
With RPG pastel?
I can't remember.
Well, you do research, and you can inform us.
I don't know if it's like for the game, but pastel. There's purple, green, and then pink, yellow. I don't think they're like tied.
Oh, were those the ones they announced for Easter though?
Yeah, it could have been. That could have been the last set.
Okay. I think those are the ones they announced around Easter or post-Easter or something like that. It was like, okay, cool colors. But yeah, I'm excited for this, Mark. I love it. My PlayStation is not visible from where I play, but these are still pretty awesome. I don't love the white. It gets dirty. White's always a bad idea. And I have 2 original DualSenses, so it might be time to get another one just in case they die. But yeah, I love these. I'm excited for this. I already ordered the collector's edition game with the cool statue because I don't have a Spider-Man statue. So that's very exciting for me too. I think it'll fit my glass case behind me, which you cannot see. So there you go. I want more of this for everybody. And Starfield doesn't have one. Why don't they have a Starfield custom? I mean, they did the Porsche Series X, which is so weird, but they don't for their biggest game probably ever they've launched.
Yeah.
It's a big miss.
Yeah. So weird. Because controllers and headsets are one thing, but like you want that full box, if you've been holding out or couldn't find one, because that's still been a thing up until very recently. So if you couldn't find one, you've been holding out and you're like, you know what, I know I can finally get an Xbox Series X, but I'm going to get one for Starfield. Like you want that full thing in a box. You take it out, it's like, here's the Starfield console. There's just, custom startup sound or something like R2-D2 back in the 360 days or whatever. There's a controller, there's a headset, like the whole thing's in there, and you get the game or Game Pass or whatever included, and it's just like ready to go. So I don't get it, man. It's weird. I'm happy PlayStation's doing this. Hopefully it'll cause some other companies, because like this is badass looking, and the fact that you can modify an original one to kind of have that side plate like you're doing is amazing. I love that. I loved modifying, like I had a couple of different faceplates for my 360. It's such an easy way to just personalize things. It's so good. And I know you can get like, what's that called? Like the sticker skins or whatever. You can get.
Yeah. D-Brand, I think, does custom side panels too. Yeah.
Like, you don't want to do that. You just want something that's easy, click in. So good. So good. I love the Spider-Man stuff. I'd love to eventually get a PlayStation 5. If I could come up with the money to get this one in the fall or whenever I'm guessing they're going to sell out super quick. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit about the future PlayStation and see what Mark's going to get. Maybe that may be the current version we've got. But last thing I wanted to say was that the last custom Xbox we got was the Halo Infinite Series X. So it's been 2 years. So it's time. But with their slate of releases coming up, maybe it's Fable. I don't know which game is at the level that would need to be, because they didn't do it for the last Horizon game, and that's kind of like their top, acclaimed series. So, but yeah,
Weird.
all right. So, Mark, we're getting into. I talked about what I'm getting this fall. I don't know if Mark, you're getting this fall. So, this is your baby. So I'm going to let you have it because I'm excited about this for you.
Yeah, this is. I don't think I'm going to be jumping into this one, but it is cool technology-wise for someone that likes VR and AR and everything else. This one's kind of neat. Assassin's Creed Mirage is getting a haptic suit that's going to immerse players in combat. So this company has released these kind of suits before. It's OWO, and you're going to be able to feel everything. So it looks like, if you Google this, it looks like a short sleeve T-shirt. Like it's pretty standard. Like it has the Assassin's Creed Mirage logo on the back, has the symbols on the arms, has a little bit of design all over the place, but like it doesn't. Now, I don't know exactly how tight these need to fit or like how they look on. Like I don't think they would look too bulky or whatever, but maybe they would. And we're just kind of seeing.
This is a Patreon stretch goal, Mark, to get Mark the haptic suit, and then he's got to like parade on it in it, and we can make him get. Even Loren can like do all of the gaming, and Mark just goes, oh, that'd be great.
Just end up dead. Yeah. So basically, you feel what's going on in the game. So if you're losing in the game, you're getting little shocks all over your body or whatever where people are hitting. It's interesting. You're going to feel every punch, stab, wind gust, and fall, along with creepy crawly sensations of bugs crawling over your skin, which is what everyone wants.
Yes.
That's a selling point. Yeah, I want to feel like there are bugs crawling over my skin. That's great. Here's my $600 because this thing's expensive, right? What's
I'm trying to find out even like where you can even buy it. Is it part of a special edition?
No, I think you buy the shirt by itself. The shirt's going to function. If you can't find the price, it is going to function, because when I first read this, I was like, this is a PC kind of thing. But it will function on PC, PS4, PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series consoles. So wherever you're playing, you'll be able to feel bugs crawling over your skin and yourself getting stabbed by a bunch of angry people chasing an assassin. So if that sounds like a good time to you, I know a place where you can get a shirt for half the price if you live in Eastern Canada or Eastern United States. I will drive down to your house and actually punch and stab you while you play this game.
Is this your new OnlyFans plan, Mark? I will.
That's it.
And I'll come and find you. Yes.
For $600, I will go to your house and beat the crap out of you every time you get punched in Assassin's Creed, because I love you. That's it. No, my wife's screaming.
This might be Lauren's birthday gift. By the way, I'm getting this for you, honey, to inflict damage on me.
That's it. Except she's going to watch me play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and every time I get hit, she's just going to slap me in the face. That's her birthday present this year. Yeah.
Yep.
She's on board.
If you can hear that online, hopefully, folks, when you're listening to this, you can hear it. Mark, I've gone to the OO game website. I found the site. It's kind of cool. This is what it includes. You do get a game code. So you may want to hold on to your purchase, Mark, and get the game with this. It comes with an OO skin, which I assume for your play. Is the character Mirage going to have an OO? Is he going to have a shirt? An OO device, of course. A charging cable, a storage pouch. This is the part that I'm a little confused by. Gel pads. So is this going to be like you have like a heart monitor settings? Like you need the gel pads? You're going to have to shave yourself, Mark?
That seems like a bit too intense for me to want to ever try that.
Oh my
Oh, wait, it works
goodness.
with Beat Saber? Oh, never mind. I'm in.
Oh, how many games does this support? Is this going to be one of our accessories? We look back in 20 years. Did you? Oh, Mark,
Oh, it
I
works
had
with
this.
Halo Infinite too.
Oh my
Hold
God,
on, it
Mark.
works with Fortnite, Halo Infinite, Super Hot, Apex, League of Legends, Valorant, Rocket League. Wow, man, the
I mean,
amount
this is
of
for you, Mark. I
uses.
mean, every game Mark likes is it supported.
I've
Yes,
been
it
making
is.
fun of this, but like I'm seeing like Pistol Whip, Arizona Sunshine. Um, oh shoot,
There's an app as well, so you can just sit and hit
Among
yourself
Us,
in
Eternity
this.
Fall, Bone Lab. Oh shit, they got me looking into this thing.
Oh my goodness, this is going to find other uses in other different areas. I think, Mark. With that
Wow,
app, yeah, you can just constantly
I
take
gotta
hits to your pec.
I gotta talk to my Ubisoft Canada people, see how much they love me.
Oh my
This
God, that would be amazing. Mark, we want to have
it's
that.
amazing.
Oh my
This
goodness.
is
It's an ask me
this is
anything.
stuff
Yeah, it's like we just hit Mark. Hey,
unthinkable.
Mark, where do you want to get hit?
Yeah,
Oh,
I do not think they like me that much. But this is it's really there's no pricing announced. That's why we couldn't find pricing. But there's one of them. It's I think that's pounds $4.99. So that's a spicy pricey meatball.
probably be like
Is what that
25%
is.
less in US funds, probably like 400 maybe
Okay.
US dollars. So, Mark, you were looking at ways to spend some Patreon money.
Yep. Oh, mercy. I just so 499 pounds is $848 Canadian. Ouch.
Okay.
And that is also $642 US.
US.
So
Oh,
um,
okay.
yeah.
Stretch
Yeah.
goal.
Yep.
There we
That's the
go.
thing. There we go.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, something that won't be 649 US dollars or 850 loonies is a Bluey game, Mark. They're making a Bluey game. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what a Bluey game would be like, Mark. I mean, I've been told by everybody in the sun that if you don't watch Bluey, you should be like arrested. Um, as a
Yeah.
person who doesn't have a young child, I don't know. That might be something you should always be arrested by. But what's your take on
No.
this, Mark?
Okay, first off, I'm in the Outright Games Ambassador Program. The rumor is that this is from Outright Games. I have not seen any official news. I don't know, because there's a lot of stuff in the Outright Ambassadors Program that's like, you can't really talk about this yet, but I don't know what their ruling is on like stuff that's been leaked but not announced in the group or anything. So I can say that I haven't seen anything in the group for this. The last announcements I saw were like um, what was it, the Baby Shark game, and then
There's
the
a new
Grinch game that
Transformers.
was
Is it
like
transfer? Are they making a new
announced.
Transformers game too?
Possibly that might have been announced a little while ago.
Okay.
But I can't remember. I'm just trying to remember what I saw through Discord. So take this one with a grain of salt because I haven't seen anything, and yeah, a Bluey game I think could absolutely work. There's so much stuff in that game. There's like you could go in a ton of different directions and make games about pretty much anything. With any of the characters, it would just or like little individual, almost like episodes that could take you in different directions. Have something happen at the school or daycare, or have something happen in like outer space or a little fantasy world that they create or something like that, or in the house, outside, whatever. Like there's so much stuff in this show that I think could translate into a game. And I like, as someone who hasn't watched like Peppa Pig or anything like that, but I have played the outright games like Peppa Pig and Coco Melon and all that kind of stuff. It absolutely yeah, it would definitely work as a game. And for anyone like yourself that hasn't watched Bluey, go watch it. It's a parenting show. It's an adult show that it doesn't matter if you have young kids or not. Like it is a show for adults that kids can enjoy 100%. There are episodes that I guarantee you will watch and be like, "Oh yeah, like that is not like that's not like a kid's thing. Like they're doing this episode to be like, hey parents, enjoy this, or hey, remember when your kids were like this and now you're kind of moving into a different thing. Like 100%. Like even my mom watched some episodes and she was just like, oh wow, yeah, 100%. Just like, obviously no small kids in my mom's house, but she was just like, yep, that one hit me. So yeah, go watch it. Bluey's amazing.
I love entertainment that hits on multiple levels. So it sounds like Bluey is that type of thing where it works for both. And that's what you want. You want entertainment that's just not like horrible and then you can enjoy with your kids. The good news, Mark, is the Australian, I went to their site, actually. I'm on the Australians' website for their classification. Thankfully, Mark, it's general. It's rated G. That's good. You're not going to have like violence or sex or anything like that. You're explaining to your kid, like, sorry, Bluey got fixed. What does that mean? I'm not telling my son about that. Yeah, my goodness. Oh, that'd be crazy. Yeah, that'd be weird. But yeah, the only thing that's might be, and it's funny because they do like have it on their cloud. So we get this. We get like the what is it? The ESRB. And they have to get rated, and you get like, oh, in South Korea, and like all these leaks. It's like Walmart Gaming in Canada. They get leaks, and we never know if they're true. There was a Steam link. I remember a leak forever. Like games were coming to Steam, and it was like this like laundry list of games that people have always wanted. It's like, that can't happen. And they all came true. So, but the developer that's rumored is called Artax Games. And I'll be honest, I'm looking at their catalog. I've not heard of any of their games, but I would say Outright does take a lot of developers that are not like high tier and brings on their games. So, but it seems like their track record is pretty good of not making just trash, making stuff that works for their audiences, and it's a good quality and also is engaging. So that's good. That's a good sign. And yeah, I hope this works out well because I think it'll bring a smile to a lot of kids and a lot of parents.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So now we get to the bonus round. So this is going to go back to some of our conversation about hardware, accessories we've gotten, and things where we're at in the world of games today. There's a lot of rumors right now about PlayStation. We're going to get a lot more rumors about the Switch successor. And there's really nothing on Xbox in regards to hardware. So it's surprising. So with that, Mark, we probably, if we looked at the blueprint for last gen, we had PlayStation, Xbox, launched the PS4 and Xbox One. People said that generation was a little bit underpowered. Xbox One brought the Kinect with it, which essentially reduced power as well. Xbox made the first move with the Xbox One S, where they essentially reintroduced a system that was added HD Blu-ray support, or Ultra HD Blu-ray, which was great. They made a better system. It performed better at a very good price, like $300. Great system. Kind of why we got an Xbox Series S, because that works so well. And then they slowly kind of shut the door on Kinect. PS4 was highly successful, but started seeing sales decline. So 3 years after, they announced the PS4 Pro, and then actually shortly after that, the PSVR. Nintendo, mid-generation, like about 3 years later, about the same time, launched the Switch. And since then, Switch has gotten one iteration, they got the Lite and then the OLED. So different variations on the high end and low end. So that's kind of where they've gone. And that was not new to Nintendo. Nintendo is typically on their handhelds have done multiple iterations, and we've seen Slims on the major console. So that's where we're currently at with the hardware. So, but this gen, we have a PS5 disc system, I don't know what to call it, and a diskless or digital, depending on how you want to say that. So the only difference is one disc is not. So it's same hardware, everything the same. Xbox did a Series S, which was a low price entry, less RAM, less hard drive space, less high performing GPU, less high performing CPU. So limited on that end to max out at 1440p, no ray tracing. Xbox Series X was the highest performing console of all time, no compromises, a great system, runs great, no problems. So I would say these systems so far doing great. I did hear about Corey Dierig mentioned that his PS5 died, which is so weird because I've had mine since launch, no problems. He got a recent one with God of War. So I feel bad about that. And hopefully they'll take care of him and he won't have any problems because it's still within warranty. But other than that, this is kind of pretty uneventful hardware generation. Like, I don't see, I mean, except for drift, which everybody's controllers seem to drift. That's where we're at. So that's where we're at with this system. I would say everybody's doing pretty well, performance wise in regards to selling out. It's very competitive. I think this is the most competitive generation we've ever had. We don't have any losers really because everybody's doing well. They're selling out. They're making money. They're selling, they're selling games. So with that, Mark, we are getting rumors. So let's start with the one area of rumors, which is PS5. So I'll give you these rumors really quick and then you give me your thoughts on them. There's rumors about a PS5 Slim where they're going to slim the system down, going to remove said disk drive, make it diskless, and offer basically one model, but you can buy, like the HD DVD, a add-on disc. So if you want digital, like you want still physical media, you can, and that'll be attached on the back. So you can buy it separately. So there will always be a solution to get discs, but it gives them the opportunity to just have one system they make. That's one rumor. A PS5 Pro has been rumored as well, coming out November 2024, targeting 4K 60 and potentially 8K, which makes me laugh because there's no 8K content. That's not even, it's dumb. Don't even mention 8K. Don't do that. And that's really, I've heard, it's better performing box, kind of similar to PS5 or PS4 Pro. And then also the Q system, the PlayStation Q device, which was shown, but we didn't get a price or a date. We're hearing now that might drop. And even Xbox said they probably, during the trial, the ABK trial, they said it's probably going to be less than like $350 or whatever. So that's all we know on the PlayStation. So let's start there. So Mark, with all of these rumors, do you believe any of them?
I could picture, especially from PlayStation, a slim model. I don't know, like, do we need pro models of these at this point? Like, I'm sure there's people that are like, I want 4K 60, I need this, I need that. And I've run into that every once in a while of like, you're in a game, do you choose performance mode? Do you choose the quality mode? Whatever it is. So I could see an argument for that, but I think one of the big problems PlayStation has right now, especially, is the size of that darn like tower console, right? So if you're looking for something, like Xbox has it, the S is slim, it's compact, it's a nice little thing. If you're willing to give up the fidelity and performance, that's great. So I think PlayStation would be really, really smart to come out with something that, like you said, you can add a disc or something like that later. But like, if that's just their base barrier of entry, like here's a tiny little slim thing that's nice and runs pretty well, I think that would put them on parity with what Xbox is offering. I think that's a really smart one. I still think, I don't know, maybe I'm naive. I would say like pro model systems are still minimum year and a half away. So maybe, like you said, you did drop like November 24 on that, right?
Yep.
I could see it then, but like I don't think we're hearing about those this year at all. I think that's like a summer of 24 announcement and then drop in the fall. So upcoming close kind of like things I could see realistically launching fairly soon. Like my money would be more on the PlayStation 5 Slim. Like let's see that kind of stuff.
And on this Q device, so Joseph Moran, Mr. Badbit, PS Trophy Room, there's a video circulating of like someone actually using this device in real time. Mark, the worst thing about this is they still have the plastic film on the stupid system. Drove me nuts. Bubbles, it looks horrible. But the system looks just as advertised. They were touchscreen, doing all the things. There's so little details on this: price, launch date, and specifically what it will do. The rumor is this will be a PS5 remote device, and that's it. And the differentiator is the fact that it's essentially a full-on DualSense controller. So it's going to be like playing on your PlayStation with that. that is problematic to a lot of people. A lot of people want a Vita. That's not going to happen again. Why would PlayStation make a device where they actually have to dumb down their games? It just doesn't work. It works for Nintendo because their games can be managed at many levels, not for high end software. It's just. I mean, Steam Deck is as good as it is still a mid tier device with a 100p screen. It's not going to give you the best, so it's hard to do. So, but with that device, I think it's dead on arrival if it's over $300. If it's $250, I think it might find a niche audience for people that works for them. Like, the Winter Gamer, he loves to stream games, and PlayStation has been problematic to stream their games because you need a DualSense controller to do so, or a PlayStation controller versus just using a backbone or something like that. So this might be an audience for people that are dedicated in the PlayStation console. For me, I'm as PlayStation as you get. I just don't understand the value because I could use my Razer Kishi. Well, I don't know if I could. I probably couldn't because you need that damn DualSense controller. That's the PlayStation putting a barrier in there. I'm not sure why, but I have used Remote Play on an iPad with my DualSense and it worked fine. So I don't know. That's enough for me.
I usually do for my Xbox.
Yeah.
And I'll probably bring a controller with me because I'll have my iPad. So it's very small if I want to play something on Game Pass. Like it's a very small thing to just take a controller with me. And I'm looking at I didn't know. So the Logitech G Cloud is, I think these might be Canadian prices. I'm not sure. It's showing $399. Yeah, that's Canadian price. So
it was $350 at launch, but I know you can get it cheaper. Or you have been able to get cheaper than that, like on launch. I'm just going to Logitech's website too. It's $299 currently. So it was $350 US. It's currently $300. Brendan likes his. I know he had a problem with like one of the sticks broke or something like that. So it is an all-in-one device. You can't just swap those out, but it's a full-on Android device. So you can actually play Android games. You can pretty much do everything with it. So if you want to stream and play some Android games, I mean, yeah, I don't know, Mark. That's going to be a game. That's going to be I think a niche device like the PlayStation Vita TV, if you remember that device, which was odd thing. I think it's nothing more than that. I think PlayStation just wants to offer a thing. I mean, Xbox could get into the same market with a Surface device if they wanted to, but I don't think they want to. They're like, there's partners they can find.
They're happy with stuff like this. Well, I mean, G Cloud, like if you scroll down, like Xbox is right there. It's the first logo that you see come up in the gaming stream stuff. It's Xbox Cloud Gaming. Game Pass is the first one. Then they list GeForce Now, Shadow PC, blah, blah, blah. When it goes to Remote Play, Xbox, again, first thing there. Then they go to Steam Link. Scroll down, there's a video. It shows the first logo that you see, big Xbox Cloud Gaming. Like, that's their answer. Xbox doesn't need to do anything because Logitech's doing it for them. Like, PlayStation wants to go off and manufacture their own thing. Cool. Xbox doesn't care. They've got it. Like, it's right there. They don't need to worry about the R&D, the production, manufacturing, anything because it exists.
It's one less thing for them to have to worry about, like, consumer complaints about the device or pricing or selling out inventory, sourcing. They don't want to worry about that. Mm-hmm. It's a hard enough time to just focus on the thing. So yeah, this could be a distraction from PlayStation. I don't know. PlayStation typically trips over itself when they don't need to, but I'm hoping they figure this out. And if this makes people happy, great. I just don't see, unless it's like under $200, I think this is going to be on sale for under $200 much later. And maybe I'll pick one up when it's super cheap, like I did the PlayStation Vita TV, and then eventually sold that too. I just kept that thing in Mark though, because those things are going for a lot of money on eBay. So never sell your crap, kids, until like 5 years later. Then you find other collectors who are like, oh, I should have bought that. So the state of PlayStation is, the only thing I would say is, I think the only reason a PS5 Pro would come out is because, like I said, repeating their playbook of sales kind of falter a little bit. They want to stay at a high price, but they want to get more people on board. So they offer the PS5 Pro at the same price potentially as the current PS5 with disc at $500 or $550. I've heard there's rumors the PS5 core is going to drop actually across markets as well, which could be kind of crazy. That'd be weird to do considering it was increased, but Xbox just increased their prices.
there's precedent for that. We just saw it with the Quest 2.
Mm-hmm.
They had a drop, then they had a rise, and now they have a drop
It's back
again,
to
getting ready
300.
for Quest
Yeah.
3. So there's precedence in the gaming space that just happened like a month ago. So 100%, I can see that happening.
Yeah, and the PS4 Pro didn't hurt PS4 games, which is great.
Yeah.
Essentially, it was a minimal standard, and they continued that, and the PS4 Pro got a little bit better performance, and I enjoyed that. And it gave me, I like shiny new things, Mark, so I'm that guy, kind of like you do, too. Apple devices, right? Yeah. Your phone works fine, but I need it to be better. I'm going to spend it. Why wouldn't I? Yeah, why wouldn't I spend an extra $1,000 on a device that I really don't need, but I like it because it works? So I think this is that whole thing with why do people need it? Why should, you know what? I even pointed this out. I've actually just bought all my parts for my new PC. They're right next to me. I'm building it. To get 4K 60 on a PC, you have to buy at least $1,000 to $1,200 graphics card. So the fact that we should expect a $500 piece of equipment all in, that's only just for the graphics card and PC. You got to buy everything else to get it to do that. The fact that we think that a $500 system should be able to do the same thing is ridiculous. They price this thing out. We know these systems are capped, and they're always several years behind PC. I think the current generation is around a 2070, 2060 RTX level. I just bought I just bought an RTX 4070, and that's out now. It's constantly evolving. So I think this is just a scenario where the reason why we need these games to play is because the games keep getting more ambitious, and you know what? They're going to keep getting harder to do. So you can add more hardware against it, but they're never going to be like a billion K or whatever. So it's going to be interesting. I think this is just a play to people who like to get by the next greatest thing, the Uber fans. But everybody else can still buy the normal crowd will buy the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5 Slim for $350. I mean, we see it. But yeah, it's hard to know where this is going to go. So hopefully this happens and it makes gaming more affordable, and you can still buy a PS5 for cheap, and it gives people options, especially on the digital side, Mark. I know some people are so worried about things only going all digital. So having a disc-based option is still a good thing. So Mark, let's get into your territory. I don't even know what we're calling the next Nintendo hardware. What was the NX? Was that what was the rumored name when Nintendo revealed it? They said the NX.
The NX was the Switch, wasn't it? That was
correct.
The code name.
Yeah, and they actually called it that like they said the NX, the next generation Nintendo device. Yes, I love that. Yeah.
Switch. Let's go Switch 2 for now, because I don't think this
Not
is just going to be Pro. I think
this
is going to be.
I like the Deux, Mark.
Deux.
It's very French Canadian.
Yeah, they're going French. I was just going to say they're going straight French Canadian with this. I think this is going to be. They've waited long enough that I don't think they can just do like a Switch Pro. Like I think their Pro model was the OLED, and this is going to be 2. They've confirmed so far that accounts will transfer to the Switch 2. I'm hoping that's the hint that backwards compatibility. I'm going to guess like DS to 3DS. So like 3DS games had that little notch in them. So you could pop in on a 3DS, you could pop in a DS game and a 3DS game, but a 3DS game would not pop into a Nintendo DS.
It doesn't fit, Daddy.
Yeah, that's right. So, so I mean, I hope that's kind of the way that they do it, or they have it just like PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series. Like, I hope it's just that easy to just be like, you know what, here's your game. If you run it on a Switch 1, it works, but it's dumbed down or whatever. If you run it on a Switch 2, it's great. And eventually you'll see Switch 2 only, right? It needs that power. So I hope that's the thing. So what else have we gotten? Yves Guillemot.
Guillemot. French. It's French. It's all French, Mark. Yeah.
Yep. Nailing it. Ubisoft CEO basically said, he said that, they were talking about Mario Rabbids, and he said something about like they're working on like bumping the game up for Switch 2 or something like that. So it's kind of an interesting like little leak that way. He said we were too early. We should have waited for Switch 2 or something like that. So yeah, interesting little admittance there, I guess, or slip, I suppose. So yeah, I mean, there's I don't know what else they want to do with another Switch. I'm really hoping they keep the same kind of form factor as far as like this thing can dock into something or you can take it with you. Take or leave the Joy-Con. I don't really care. If everything looks like a Switch Lite at this point, cool. But that's kind of what I'm hoping is they just kind of like keep everything, bump up the specs, 3DS to DS. That's the kind of thing, but like without the 3D gimmick. So I'm thinking like DS to like a new 2DS XL is what I have in my mind. Is there anything like compelling for you, a Nintendo adjacent fan? What they could do with a 2?
Yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with the form factor, but Mark, as you know, I want to throw those Joy-Cons in garbage. So I would be happy if this went to a completely like a light format, like as all in, just the all in, not needing Joy-Cons, but make them obviously more like a Pro-Con. So it's like more manageable. Joy-Cons could work with it, like just had Wiimote Pro Controller, Wiimotes worked with the Wii U. I don't know if that muddies the water. Then people are like, oh, I don't know. You don't want to confuse people. So maybe getting away from the Joy-Cons is a smart move. And if you want to use the Joy-Cons in the future, they don't mention that, but then you can like put them in like the dog thing and use them as that, or you could use them separately if needed. But I think getting away from that type of thing so people don't confuse it with it being just an upgrade or a thing. I think keeping dockable is great. Having it all in one to make it more comfortable would be the next step. But I think what they also need to do, Mark, is go to an SSD because we're spoiled now. And the eShop runs like a dog. Game load times, even though those carts are fine, and even though your hard drive is fine on the Switch, it's faster than a regular hard drive. It's still not fast, and at times those load times get slower. So I'd like to see an SSD, and the Steam Deck runs with a small SSD, and they're small. They're tiny. 1 gig is like, I think $60 if you bought one for yourself. So it's a cheap solution. And I would love to see that. So I would love to see all of those modern things that could make it a better system, maintain the form factor, because I think it's a perfect form factor. I mean, it's great, except for the Joy-Con like ergonomics and controls. But I think it's great. And to your point, the cartridge thing, how do you figure that out? Yeah, make the little lip from 3DS. So I don't think there's much more to do. And I think, Mark, what you could do, and this is kind of weird, but because I think Nintendo feels like, well, if we have to do something, we have to do something crazy and weird. Here's Labo. Enjoy.
Right.
What if they said they put a camera in? Go back to like an AR experience.
Yeah, that's great. They
like when it's portable, the camera.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm in.
And then they say this. Oh, by the way, your Switch is now a secondary controller for like a Switch Lite, or a Switch is a secondary controller. So you could play some of those games that failed on Wii U, bring back Nintendo Land, like Nintendo Land Plus or whatever. I think that could be a really cool approach to say, hey, we know we've got 150 million Switches out there. Bring them with you, but you're going to need a new system. But it's even better with those. So people don't feel like they're left out to dry. But if anybody feels like Switch is abandoning anybody, the library of the Switch is probably the strongest library Nintendo has ever had. And people will still be able to access that library if they own a Switch for years to come. And if it's forward compatible, comes to, because I don't think there'll be much that would be missed, except for maybe Labo, Ring Fit. They may have to figure out another way to do that. But Joy-Cons could be sold for that, or they could come up with something else. But I don't think there's much that would be off the table if they eliminated the Joy-Cons and things like that. I think it would be like 99.2% of all games on Switch will work on your new system. I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, and Mark, you wanna put a line in the sand saying when this thing is going to come out?
Oh, an Xbox Series Y?
No, the Switch. The Switch. Duh.
Oh, the Switch. Switch 2 is early 2024. We're
Okay.
getting an announcement shortly after New Year's. I think is they're waiting for the holiday to sell the Switch, sell the games. They're going to bundle something with the Mario Kart 8 again and some Mario games and whatever. They're going to sell the crap out of those as long as they can. They've announced a bunch of Switch games, so we know we're getting support. But I think we're getting an announcement like I'd be surprised if it happens later than like February.
I agree with you. That's what I want to happen, Mark, because I want it to be where all of the hardcore can get a Switch in the spring.
Yeah.
And so when holiday comes around, then everybody else can get theirs. They build up supply. I don't want them to launch in November. And then it's like, oh, the holiday's ruined because Jimmy didn't get a Switch because, I hope Nintendo realizes there's value in launching at a quiet time and they can own the gaming, media for 6 months to a year, and they played it perfectly last time. Why wouldn't they repeat that? It's weird to just do something different just because you want to be different versus be different because you think it's a real reason. So I agree. I hope they do that.
Yeah.
So yes, then we get into the last player in this market. Xbox Series X and S currently are around. I think 300 and 500 the prices, although there's a new Series S coming out that is $350, which is the only thing changed. It's black and comes with an extra 500 gigabytes. So you get a terabyte for $350. So that is the current state. And that's really with Xbox. They haven't talked about doing anything different. Last gen, they did do a One X. We talked about the S. So the only thing different this generation, Mark, is Xbox is in a weird space because they're already seeing issues with doing parity of launches on the S and the X. We heard about Baldur's Gate 3. They're not launching that game because they said it has to have the same features on both consoles, which would be split screen. And the developer's saying, we can't get split screen to work on S, so X is not going to come out. If they play the same hand, we could get an Xbox Series something that's higher performance, but now they have to deal with 3 different specifications, and one is already on the low end. I worry about that because they essentially launched with a base and a pro with those models. Nobody else has done that. Nobody said, here's 2 systems and one is significantly weaker. So Xbox set a precedent that might be harming them. I don't know how they would play that off, because would they say, oh, Series S no longer has to maintain that? You'll get games, but they might be lesser, but you'll at least get them still. 1080p, 30, something like that. It's good enough. And then the X, which was supposed to be the highest end thing, it won't give you the best things. And then, so I don't know. How would you play that out, Mark? I mean, does it make sense?
I could see a new mid tier for Xbox. I could see something replacing, like, I think they're looking at the X as their pro. So I think what do you do to make up for that? You make a new mid tier. So right now, if they're thinking that the Xbox Series S is the entry model, the barrier, you put something else in the middle. You just hit something in there that kind of almost matches everything. You could have feature parity between that and the X, but maybe you do knock it down to still it's 1080p, it's this, but like where the S is missing some of the RAM and some of those kind of things that make those features harder, like make the guts of this thing basically the same as an Xbox Series X, but dumb enough down so like it doesn't have the fidelity, it doesn't have a couple of things that are just missing enough to make it like, that justified middle tier. But I think, yeah, that could start biting them. I think the Series S missing some of that stuff, the RAM especially, and the just those kind of capabilities. Yeah, I think that's gonna start to bite them eventually. So I think you need a mid tier that slowly becomes like the entry tier, and then the Series S is just kind of like, oh yeah, remember that? That was fun, but now we're kind of moving on. Like it, yeah, it's going to be a weird bump for Xbox.
Yeah, I would hate to be those marketers, because then how do they explain the value of that system? How do they, and then developers now say, okay, we have to support S. What does that mean? Oh my goodness. Now that's like our low end spec from 3 years ago.
I think they could get rid of that secretly, but I think it'd be like a under the radar thing until people started picking it up, like news places started picking it up and just been like, hey, holy crap, Xbox just got rid of their verbiage that said, you have to support the Series S. Like, I think that could be, especially if they had a mid tier. Like, I think, oh, you have to support the mid tier and the X, but like, oh, they just changed that. It doesn't say S anymore. Like, we're gonna see games that will not work on Series S. Like, I think they could start to do that, but I think they'll do it in a sneaky way that just kind of like slides under the radar.
Yeah,
And
I
when
think
people
that,
notice,
yeah.
have Phil put out something like, "Hey, we want to deliver the best games," and the developers are saying that like they need this. We have 2 great barriers to entry, and you can still play most of our first-party games on a Series S. So hopefully, you'll still enjoy that system for a while. But if the developers are saying that they need this more power, we don't want to turn them away. So here's what we're doing. Like, Phil could kind of spin that. I think if anyone can, it's going to be that kind of wording from Phil. It's like, we just want to give developers the tools they need to give you the best games that they can. So we're changing what we do, and everything that we do is still going to support the S, but some developers just need more power.
Yeah, you'd like to be almost like, there was an old movie back in the day called Crazy People, where it was basically marketers actually went to people. And this movie is probably not that PC now, but they went to mentally ill people to come up with advertising campaigns, and they were bluntly honest. That was their thing. Like Volvo, they're boxy, but they're safe. Not sexy. It was just like they were blunt. And I'm wondering if they could just take that tack to say, hey, we launched the S. We realize it's not going to be able to, we have to be honest to say it may hold back the X, even though they said it won't hold back the X. We can just do these things. We know there's things that the S will not be able to be capable of based on the cadence of performance, things like that. So we will be sunsetting that system, introducing a new system that'll be more capable, but still an affordable price point for those going forward. S should still see a long, support for new games, everything. But for the more demanding games, we are going to introduce a more capable system, but still at that value price. And they call it System V or Series V, Mark. Value! Yay! Todd's a marketer at heart. And so then, to your point, they could keep X as still the tier, but then secretly have a system for the masses that still doesn't have to worry about not holding back the X. Because they could do that. Because we saw that with, the iPhone SE, which essentially had like great hardware, old form factor. That's the one my wife has because she doesn't want a big screen, but it's got like the same guts as like the most recent stuff. It just doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it's going to still run all your apps for years to come. And that could be a thing. And I could also see, Mark, this is when they introduce their streaming dongle to say, by the way, if you just want to get on board with Xbox and you don't want to pay a lot for a console that will do all your streaming, but also play your games, hook up to any TV, go where you go. Here's the Xbox. They took away the S for stream, which,
but that could be their spin, right? That could be their spin with this is if you want to run this on an Xbox Series S, you need to play the cloud version.
Yeah.
Right? Like it will still run on your hardware, but you need to play the cloud version because that's what, we need this extra power that our servers can provide, blah, 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 blah. Like that could be their entry for like, hey, you can still play this, but, same as like, hey, you can play this on Switch, but like.
It's Resident Evil 7, but it's streaming only. Yeah. And by the way, hey, Game Pass Ultimate has cloud streaming. Here, pay $17 a month. Yeah, I mean, there's a way to do these things that you can be honest and you can advance gaming to where it needs to be. But I mean, and I would hope that we're in a place now with Unreal Engine 5 finally coming out. We'll see games, and especially after coming out of COVID and all this, we'll see games not being held back because of, the limitation of whatever of last gen, but we'll see them really make these games unless the developers want to do something like Starfield. They're saying, we want it to be 4K 30. That's fine. We'll go from there. So with all of these things, Mark, I don't know if we've solved anything, but I think it's fun to talk about these things in a very intriguing fashion. But I'm guessing I probably did lose a couple predictions along the way. And I know Sean Nias is listening right now thinking, why aren't we getting a PS5 Pro this fall because of PSVR 2? We just need people to talk about PSVR 2 because that system needs some help and some love. And there's games coming out for it, but man, oh man, Mark, I don't know. I hope it does well. But any other like weird, like any out of left field, like hardware console thoughts you have in this, as we wrap up?
I think Xbox is just holding out until cloud streaming. Like, I don't think they care about this generation, to be honest. Like, they hope this is probably the last generation that they really need to push hardware, because they just want Xbox on everything. They just want it streaming. They want it built in as soon as you fire up your TV. They just want the Xbox app there, and they're waiting for that. Like, I think they're just kind of riding this out. So, like, if anyone has the least to gain from new hardware, I think it's Xbox. Like, they just want the acquisitions, they want the technology to catch up, and they just want to be like, play Xbox anywhere. We really don't care anymore.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people thought they played the hardware game right. They had brought in a system that's $300 and a $500 system, and it hasn't really helped them in the sales. I mean, obviously, I think the S has helped them stay afloat, but it really hasn't. That, like, just pushing more hardware is just not going to solve anyone's problems right now. It's all about the games and where people are playing. And as of right now, Nintendo has the least powerful hardware, and every game they put out, Kirby is selling like 1 billion copies, Mark. That's probably the budget of, like, I don't know, the recent Crash 4 game. I mean, it's just crazy. So it really doesn't really even matter. I mean, it just put out systems people can play and make the games fun. Is all I can say at this point. Make a Bluey game, folks. You'll sell like 1 billion copies to every parent, and we'll be going forward. So, awesome. Well, folks, hopefully you enjoyed our view into the future of gaming. Hopefully we'll hear something new. I'm hearing rumors about potentially a PlayStation conference in August. I'm hearing something about, Nintendo maybe in September. In August, Xbox is going to be at Gamescom, so they might have something. They're very excited about being there. So we'll see if they have maybe they're making like a bratwurst themed Xbox. We don't know. It's Germany. We'll see. If there's anything you heard that you wanted to comment on, please let us know in our Discord, on Twitter, in our Facebook group. We still are there. We don't show up very often, but we're there. Mark's on Threads, so yell at him there, and we'll see what happens. And we would love your input as always. So, Mark, with that, we are done. Tell people where they can find you on the interwebs.
You can find me everywhere. Like Todd said, Threads, Instagram, or my two mains, as well as our Discord channel, at @the_Canadian.
Excellent. And we have set up a Instagram and Threads account for Secret Friends U. We're there. I'm trying to navigate through like the Nicki Minaj posts on Threads, Mark, because Threads is still in its infancy of like getting to the right people. So if you want to friend us, follow us, go to Threads. We're there. And we're also on Instagram. So I try to find photos to put out there that makes it fun for everyone. For myself, though, Twitter, I am on Threads as well. And part of our Discord group, go there. And also check out our Patreon. It's a lot of great stuff is there. More new things to come. And we've always got new content coming. And I'm very excited for Mark's long-awaited show, because it's going to be a hoot when you hear it.
Yep.
Excellent. So with that, folks, we are done with this journey into the world of video games. Thank you, Mark. And remember, as always, it's always better to game together.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow @SecretFriendsU on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.